Tesla was a brilliant inventor and engineer. He created the rotating magnetic field, which is the basis of the AC electricity we use every day. But he was also a very strange guy in many ways. Even his birth has a weird story attached to it. Nikola Tesla was born July 10, 1856 in modern-day Croatia, which was then part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. According to family legend, Tesla was practically born from electricity. On the night of his birth, there was a huge lightning storm raging in the village of Smiljan, where his family lived. Some believe that this was a bad omen, but others, including his mother, believed it to be a good sign of things to come. Tesla's exceptional intellect was obvious from an early age. He took particular interest in language and physics and had a photographic memory. He eventually became fluent in Serbian, English, Czech, German, French, Hungarian, Italian, and Latin. In fact, Tesla was so smart that his high school teachers accused him of cheating. But of course, he was just a prodigy. He ended up finishing 4 terms of schoolwork in only 3 terms, and graduated in 1873 at 17 years old. Then he nearly died. That same year, Tesla contracted cholera, a bacterial disease spread through contaminated food and water. A common nickname for this disease is the Blue Death, which comes from the severe dehydration causing the body to take on a desiccated blue-gray tone. Tesla spent 9 months fighting for his life. However, there was a silver lining to this. His father promised to send him to the best engineering school if he pulled through, which eventually he did. However, he didn't go to school. Instead, he ran away. Once Tesla recovered, he fled to a remote village, probably to avoid conscription into the Austro-Hungarian army. For a year, he wandered and lived in nature, exploring the mountains, wearing only a hunter's garb. Tesla claimed that this contact with nature made him stronger both physically and mentally. He read many books while on his adventure. In particular, he believed Mark Twain had helped him survive cholera, which is interesting because he would later develop a pretty strange personal relationship with the author. In 1875, Tesla emerged from the wilderness and went to university. This is where his more troubled side began to emerge. In the beginning, he excelled in all of his classes, but after 3 years, he suddenly started failing. Despite his obvious brilliance, he would never graduate. And to this day, no one really knows what happened, but it is suggested that Tesla wasn't studying and may have been expelled for gambling. After this failure, Tesla again vanished. Not even his own family heard from him for at least a year. There was a rumor among his classmates that he had drowned in a nearby river, but in January 1879, one of them ran into Tesla and reported the strange encounter to Tesla's family. It turned out Tesla had been working as a draftsman for 60 florins per month. But he was destined for much bigger things, and his whole life was about to be turned upside down. In 1882, Tesla went to work for the Continental Edison Company in Budapest. Continental Edison was responsible for marketing and selling the inventions of Thomas Edison, especially the new electric light. It didn't take long for Tesla's brilliance to attract attention. He quickly rose through the ranks and became a traveling repairman. In 1884, Tesla's boss was asked to manage Edison Machine Works in New York City. He decided to take his star employee to America with him. It was here that Tesla worked personally for Thomas Edison for 6 months. Stories of the feud between Tesla and Edison have been greatly exaggerated. The truth is actually pretty shocking. No pun intended. It's true that the men had competing visions about how to electrically power America, but historians believe that they only actually met a handful of times. It's even suggested that they had a somewhat friendly relationship, although they weren't close by any means. Despite this, Tesla left the company in 1885 after Edison refused to pay the bonuses he believed he was entitled to. Some might say he regretted this decision, though. After he quit, he struggled to find work in the industry. Desperate to pay his bills, Tesla took a job digging ditches for $2 a day. This was far from the end of Tesla's career, though. In fact, it was just the beginning. In April 1887, he started the Tesla Electric Company. He spent the next several years working on inventions like AC induction motors, the Tesla coil, and his infamous wireless transmission tower, Wardenclyffe. By the time his career ended, he had hundreds of patents to his name. Tesla always had a leg up on his competitors. No one else could say that one of their creations cured Mark Twain's constipation. Seriously, he did that. Tesla and Twain became friends in the late 1800s. They quickly grew very close enough to the point that Twain would tell Tesla about his digestive issues. Tesla was quick to think of an idea. A vibrating disc of his own creation that he thought would loosen Twain's problem. Eager to see if it would work, Twain climbed onto the disc, which then started to shake. It reportedly worked like a charm. It only took a few minutes before Twain was dashing to the bathroom. So, yeah, Tesla 1, everyone else 0. Although constipation cures have their place in science, Tesla had bigger ambitions. People believed that his inventions were otherworldly. In 1899, he picked up signals in his lab that he believed came from a civilization on Mars. However, it was probably just a signal from another transmitter. Tesla had a number of other odd ideas. He claimed some of his ideas about electricity were inspired by the pyramids. He believed the ancient Egyptians had built them to resonate with the energy of the Earth's magnetic fields. But Tesla's beliefs about Mars and the pyramids were a lot tamer than some of his other beliefs. Tesla supported eugenics, which is the practice of selective human breeding to improve genes. In 1935, Tesla predicted that eugenics would be universally established by 2100, saying, "A century from now, it will no more occur to a normal person to mate with a person eugenically unfit than to marry a habitual criminal." Although never confirmed, this may tie into the fact that he never married. In fact, there is no evidence that he ever had a single romantic relationship in his whole life, at least not with a human. Despite the revolutionary nature of his work and his many patents, Tesla had another major issue: money. He was constantly broke throughout his entire life. He enjoyed living lavishly, taking up residence in fancy hotels and racking up enormous bills. He was frequently unable to pay what he owed and resorted to borrowing money from friends. Sometimes he tried to pay his debts by giving people his notebooks. It is widely known that Tesla's patents were exploited by people like Thomas Edison. But actually, a lot of this was Tesla's own doing. He allowed patents to lapse and generally took no interest in the business side of his inventions. He liked to spend money, but wasn't interested in earning it. This, combined with his unusual beliefs, sometimes led to disaster. The best example is Tesla's greatest failure, the Wardenclyffe Tower. Tesla wanted to build a huge tower to transmit electricity, using the Earth itself as a conductor. He claimed that this structure would grip the Earth and make it quiver. In order to finance this, he traded a stake of his patents to billionaire J.P. Morgan in exchange for the equivalent of about $4 million today. Tesla built Wardenclyffe Tower, with steel rods plunging hundreds of feet into the Earth. He hoped to tap into the power of the planet itself, as he believed the Egyptians had done. But this idea was a total flop. Essentially, Tesla just handed over a share of his patents to J.P. Morgan for absolutely nothing. This story also shows that one common belief about Tesla simply isn't true, that he was unappreciated and his work wasn't funded. Despite his social awkwardness, Tesla wasn't shy about self-promotion. He often gave public demonstrations, and his fanciful claims made people think he was even smarter than he was. The dude was a celebrity scientist in his own lifetime, able to get one of the richest men in America to fork out millions of dollars. He would do anything to advance his work, a sentiment he later admitted to reporters may have been too great a sacrifice. Along with his money trouble, Tesla didn't have many personal friends. He rubbed elbows with some pretty impressive figures, but his social circle was rather tight-knit. He preferred to do work alone and rarely opened himself up to others. Another reason Tesla wasn't so keen on other humans was he had a great fear of germs. He reportedly disliked handshakes, hated touching people's hair, and would only eat boiled food. These behaviors baffled acquaintances, and he was seen as weird because of them. But historians now believe he exhibited symptoms of OCD. For example, Tesla compulsively performed actions in threes. He was also completely obsessive about his work, logging such long hours that he strained his physical and mental health. Tesla claimed he only slept for 2 hours most nights, and never went to bed before 5 a.m. According to him, once a year, as a treat, he would sleep for 5 whole hours. But employees at the various hotels where he lived claimed that they sometimes found him in a trance-like state. They would enter Tesla's room and he would be standing immobile, apparently conscious but totally unaware of anything happening around him. He also claimed to have visions, which may have actually been hallucinations as a result of his insomnia. In one of these visions, he was visited by the true love of his life, who was not a human as we've mentioned. Despite his intense germophobia, Tesla really loved animals. In particular, he was borderline obsessed with pigeons. It was part of his routine to feed them every day. On one occasion, he spent $2,000 rehabilitating a pigeon friend of his after its wing got injured. He cared greatly for this bird and wrote about it in his diary. He talked about how much he loved it, saying things like, "I love that pigeon as a man loves a woman, and she loved me. As long as I had her, there was a purpose to my life." I'm choosing to not interpret that passage literally though, and you probably shouldn't either. Honestly, I think it's kind of endearing. It is similar to how many people treat their dogs or cats. The pigeon was more like family to him. On a different note, Tesla had some strange practices that he thought would help him live longer. In a 1935 interview in Physical Culture, Tesla revealed some of his secrets to not dying. Among them was abstinence, walking 10 miles a day, and not drinking coffee. Stranger was his idea of the waterless bath. He told the magazine of his plans to somehow invent a contraption that would make electric baths safe. Now, some may completely disregard and even laugh at Tesla's idea about longevity, but he actually outlived a lot of people. In 1937, when he was 81, Tesla was struck by a taxicab. He broke several ribs in the accident, but no one will ever know the extent of his injuries because he refused to see a doctor. As a matter of fact, he never sought medical attention for any reason. Miraculously, he survived almost 6 years, though he never fully recovered. Nikola Tesla died of a heart attack on the 7th of January in 1943. He was alone in his room at the Hotel New Yorker when he passed. Shortly after his death, the FBI seized his papers, worried that they might contain sensitive information. But analysis quickly discovered that Tesla hadn't had a practical idea in the last 15 years of his life. But we continue to reap the benefits of his contributions every day when we turn on the lights. That's all for now. If there are any other weird or not so well-known facts about Nikola Tesla that we didn't touch on, leave us a comment. And don't forget to like and subscribe to History Snob for more. Thanks so much for watching.